Cake, cake, Reiki or cake. 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 Reiki or cake. As you place your hands out in front of you, preparing to begin the Reiki treatment, you think for the briefest moments of the next 3 minutes and the hand positions that follow. You think of symbols and Kotodama. You wonder if you'll feel the sting of Byosen or the magnetic pull of Reiji Ho. Most of all, you wait for that feeling of heat, the tingle that lets you know the treatment has started. You breathe, and the first 3 minutes has begun. We cannot imagine the enormity of it all. A simple breath, so easy and natural. Yet in an hour, a day, a year, a lifetime, the foundational act of survival, breathing, becomes incomprehensible to us. Too many breaths to count, too many to remember. Each beat of heart and moment of touch, each sight and smell and taste and feeling and emotion and thought, so vast in amount as to render the number meaningless. And this is just you. Those same quantities are mirrored in the 8 billion other humans on the planet, the 117 billion people who have ever lived. Each relationship, interaction, exchange of glance on the street or reference to someone you'll never meet, measure naught compared to those you'll never know and can never know. Every word ever spoken or written or lost, each thought, idea, fantasy, every grain of sand, blade of grass, droplet of water, tree, mountain, oceanic trench, inch of sky and mile of space between here and the moon. The planets, so vast in size as to dwarf the earth and everything upon it. Such huge leaps in size and scale, so distant and far removed from anything we know, as to send our capacity to visualize into complete and total abstraction. As we scrabble for some sense of meaning, taking seconds to minutes, hours to days, and months and years to decades to 100 years. We have no way of knowing what it is to live for 2 centuries, a millennium, a million years. Yet we were created over 13 billion years ago as particles so minute we cannot grasp how insignificant they are or how strange their behaviour. We strive for understanding, a meaning to it all. We are reductive and we negotiate. We explore to the limits of our comprehension, yearning to make sense of measure too great for us to know in these fleeting, insignificant lives that contain everything we know and are. As we turn our gaze to the stars, to the galaxies, to the nebulae and the Laniakea and the other superclusters of our universe, we seek answers in narrative, art and religion, attempting to fit into some inconceivable context that science fails to encapsulate. For there is so little we know, and so little time to know it, and such infinity to explore. How can we ever know the quantity of all there is to know when we fail to know the quantity of ourselves? And you move your hands to the second hand position. Hello and welcome to Roman Nose. I'm Martyn Pentecost, originator of Celtic Reiki and the other modalities of One Therapy, and I invite you to join me on a rather extraordinary adventure. In the 3 minutes it takes to hold a single hand position in Foundational Usui Reiki Therapy treatments, your body does more than you can consciously comprehend, just to keep you alive. From every breath you take to your heartbeat, each neurological impulse and neurochemical reaction, each sensation and emotion, cells being born and dying and living, consuming, excreting, the defences of your lymphatic system and hormonal actions of your endocrine system, your body is designed to be alive without you even knowing how it does it in the moment. This creates abstraction, levels of complexity so extreme, our ability to consciously grasp the real-world quantity of it all causes our brains to spool out of our ears. We can know it intellectually, but we cannot account for it all in the moment. Yet, 3 minutes is 3 minutes. There's heat in my hands and a tingling, and I feel the flow of Reiki and see colours, but it's just 3 minutes. In those same 3 minutes, your client's body has an identical degree of complexity, mirroring the living processes of your body to keep them alive. You are both in a place where more living things and potentially living things exist than you can ever know. In a country of millions of other people and animals, on a planet of billions that exist in complex ecosystems of life and death. More people being born and dying and living in those 3 minutes than you'll ever meet, with lifetimes far different from yours. And you cannot know what it is to live longer than you will live, or die at the end of a life shorter than your own. Ecosystems of weather patterns and tectonic movement, where unimaginable numbers of plants grow and winds dance across oceans and mountains and deep forests. From desert dunes to the deepest ocean trenches, we cannot know it all and cannot comprehend it all in the moment. And it's just 3 minutes. My tummy gurgles occasionally, and there's a gentle swaying as I stand here holding my hands out in front of me. What's 3 minutes? It takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds for the light from the sun to travel 93 million miles to the Earth, which it has done for over 4.5 billion years in a galaxy that takes about 100,000 light years to cross, containing between 100 and 400 billion stars. And this is just one of estimated 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. Just 3 minutes. I breathe in a little, the heat turns to a funny magnetic feeling, so I draw a symbol in my mind and use its name 3 times. And Reiki is a universal force, a subtle force that is imbued in every breath and heartbeat and sensation and emotion of every person and creature and plant and place and planet and star and galaxy, and in the very fabric of everything through and beyond time. Or so we hypothesize. 3 minutes. And in the face of all that abstraction, we reduce the experience into a series of 3-minute chunks as a therapy that is taught for anywhere between a few hours to a few days. And we think we are qualified to appreciate what it is and how it works. Reiki is a word for something we cannot understand. It is a word that defines a concept within each of us, that we make within ourselves, a concept that fits our own worldview and personal perspective. Reiki is a set of experiences, moments that mean something to us, or not. Reiki exists to some and not to others, because the concept behind the word fits for some and not for others. Reiki is symbols and crystals and woo-woo. But what if the concept behind the word changed? What if we could explore further than 3 minutes, a day's training, some made-up symbols or a few hand positions? Just how far can we go to expand the concept behind the word, and what would be the results? the real world quantifiable results in terms of how much better life could be, how transformative its effect on our bodies, emotions and minds. How could we make sense of all that in ways that are not so abstract? How could we learn to know ourselves, others, and our relationships with them in very different ways if we tried? And how much cake would we need to pack for the journey? Welcome to Reiki or Cake, an adventure like nothing you've ever known before. I hope that you'll join me here in the realms of one therapy as we start to expand together the lifelong endeavour of what we understand as Reiki. Thank you for taking the first step of this journey with me, now and always. Be enchanted.